Good afternoon and welcome once again to Parnell Park, where all too soon we've reached the business end of the Dublin Hurling Championships after a short but intense summer of hurling. We have another double header for you this afternoon on Dubs TV. At 5 o'clock it's the intermediate hurling final with the North Dublin meeting of Fingallians and Naomh Marnogue, Swords versus Portmarnock. But first it's the Junior A hurling final, and these two teams on the western side of the city, St Brigids and Lucan Sarsfields, aren't too far distant from each other either. Lucan are in some senses the surprise package of this year's Junior A Championship. Coming third in their group behind St Peregrine's and St Vincent's, they then battled their way through the quarter-finals and semi-finals to deservedly find themselves in today's final, facing St Brigids, a team that hasn't put a foot wrong in getting this far, scoring an impressive 13 goals and 88 points along the way in just 5 matches. So let's have a look at this afternoon's finalists, beginning with St Brigids. In goals they have Kieran Cahill, the full backline of Sean Brady, Brian O'Sullivan and Mark Coyne. Halfbacks Brian Moran, Sean Keegan and Cian McCarthy. In midfield it's Owen Tyne and Brian Smith. Half forward line of Matt Barr, David Kennedy and Kieran O'Sullivan. And the full forward line of Michael Frayne, Stephen Moore and Adam McGurk. And as this is the final, I'm going to give you a rundown now on the subs as well. For St Brigids they have Rory O'Neill, Jamie Winters, Kieran Breslin, Kieran Dolan, Tiernan Gilvary, Conor Webb, Fergal Coonahan, John Casey, Cian O'Doherty and David Greville. Well, moving on now to Lucan. They have in goals Fintan Clandillan, full backline Tyg Behan, Ty Clandillan and Aidan Sheehan. In the halfbacks it's Owen O'Connor, Luke Murphy and Anto McNulty. In midfield Barry Aird and Niall Gleeson. The half forward line is of David Kavanagh, Rob Lambert and Ian Crowley, and one change in the full forward line. Colin Behan should have started there, but he's replaced now by Oisin O'Brien. At full forward Alan O'Neill, and in the corner Kevin O'Reilly. And their subs include Anto Lee, Brendan McGarry, Gavin Millay, Owen O'Congla, Tiernan Swords, Killian Hogan, Diarmuid Reynolds, Evan Dowling, Gary Coleman, Keith Masterson, Jack McCarthy and Rob Toomey. Well, conditions are certainly going to play a large part this afternoon, because there's a very strong breeze blowing from the golf club end straight down the pitch, almost, perhaps at a slight angle down towards the church end, and it definitely is going to have a big impact on who gets that. So we'll have to wait and see who wins that that first toss, to decide who will perhaps take control of this game early on. I suppose as St Brigids are the favourites, it would be ideal for Lucan Sarsfields to win the toss and to have the favour of the breeze in the first half. You never know what might happen to that breeze after the half-time interval, but we'll just have to wait and see. They're both having a last little bit of a chat. St Brigids there in their red and white, and as per the COVID regulations, of course, the two teams arrived here. They're not allowed to use the dressing rooms, so St Brigids were actually up in the stand just behind where you see them now, and they were here quite early. They were here about 45 minutes before the game, but you're not allowed out onto the pitch to do your warm-up until 30 minutes before throw-in time. So they've been here, they're quite relaxed. Whereas at the other end of the field, Lucan Sarsfields, they arrived just before 2 o'clock and having their photograph taken now. That one late change on the side, and I thought there mightn't actually be any photographs before this game, but they've decided to let them do that because I suppose it is a final, and the whistle has been sounded, so Philip Carr will be getting them into their positions fairly soon. Lucan Sarsfields now all have donned their helmets and they're ready for action. Just a sprinkling of people in the stands, of course. A few red shirts. They're the mentors or selectors for St Brigids, and the green and white of Lucan Sarsfields. St Brigids management team is Sean Frayne and Mick Burke today. For Lucan it's Dermot O'Brien, and our referee, as I said, is Philip Carr. Philip is from the Round Towers Club in Clondalkin, a very experienced referee for what is a big final for both these teams. All the checking has been done. Confirmation from linesmen and umpires. And full back for Lucan there Ty Clandillan slowly making his way down to his position. So in this first half it's going to be Brigids playing from right to left. They'll have the advantage of the breeze in this first half, and it is very significant, and it is very cold here as well. I was going to suggest earlier on that it was a bit of an autumn day, but it's actually more of a winter's day. It really is that cold. Full back is where he should be. Goalkeeper Fintan Clandillan is down there as well. He's sorted himself out in the net, gives the signal to the referee that he's okay as well. So Philip Carr has no other impediments to letting this game begin. Check the players are in the right positions on both sides of the field, and straight away it's Brigids that have possession. Owen Tyne loses it, gets it back once again. He's under a lot of pressure there though. Pressure was coming there from Rob Lambert and Ian Crowley. It's in Brigids now with the opportunity. The first chance of a score comes from Kieran O'Sullivan, and Kieran O'Sullivan hits a great score early on. That really was a very good score. He found himself free. He had no hesitation whatsoever in striking that one for St Brigids. The early score for them. Kieran, whose father Michael was actually the captain of the Dublin junior hurling side in 1990. He's a Cork man, so he was celebrating the double that year as well, hurling and football at All-Ireland senior level. Brigids once again don't go for the score this time. Played that little bit shorter into Adam McGurk. He's got plenty of alternatives there. Matt Barr is the player that he decides to go for. Matt had looked as if he was sizing up the shot there and decided not to go for it in the end. A little bit of a miss touch there from Kieran O'Sullivan, but it might come back to Brigids once again, and they're putting all the pressure on at this point in time. The referee sees the free there, so a free in for St Brigids. And the St Brigids small support, well, it's actually their team support rather than supporters in the stand. Tight security here in Parnell Park today. Absolutely no one getting in that wasn't on the list. It's no longer a case of tickets, it's actually name by name now. But an opportunity now for Kieran O'Sullivan. He's their regular free taker for St Brigids to get his second score. The first was from play. He's looking for one now from the place ball. He strikes it well again, I think. Oh, that comes back off the upright. It looked for a moment as if it was sailing over the crossbar, but in fact there's a bit of defending now to do for Lucan Sarsfields. They're trying to dig it out there. I'm not too sure who'll get hold of it in the end. There's a shot being attempted there, but looking as if they've just about repulsed that attack there. There's a lot of pressure on them, but they're still not getting it away. They might at this point in time though. Back goes Barry Aird, and a little bit of a push there, so Barry Aird did all that was required. They've won the free out, but that free in from Kieran O'Sullivan certainly looked as if it was about to go over the post, but it came back down off that left hand upright, and for a moment there it looked as if there was another chance there for St Brigids, but in the end Lucan Sarsfield do enough to clear it away. And in all of that, one of the Lucan Sarsfield players had picked up a bit of a knock as well, so he's going to receive some attention. And remember, one way or the other this game will be decided today. If it's a draw at the end of normal time, there'll be extra time, and if it's level at the end of extra time, we will have penalties. 5 penalties initially, and then sudden death after that. Goalkeeper Fintan Clandillan sizing himself up for this one. This will be interesting now, because it'll see just how strong that wind is. Doesn't hit it too high. He gets a fair distance on it though. There was an attempt there at the catch which went astray, and good pick up there from Rob Lambert, and he gets a little nudge in the back there, so he's won the free for Lucan. So Kevin O'Reilly is the player who was practicing the frees early on before this game, and he's the man who's going to take this one. Now, he was actually hitting them from a little bit closer in. This one is about 55 metres, and you can see there from his jersey that there's a good old breeze blowing into his face. But if he can strike this one well and get a point, it'll be a great start for Lucan, and he has struck it well. That's a very good score. Terrific score for Kevin O'Reilly. That really was well struck. Straight as an arrow, and it means that Lucan Sarsfields draw level, and they'll be very happy with that after 4 minutes of play. And they have it again. Now this is their first serious attack, but it goes astray out over the sideline on this side of the field. The line ball for St. Brigids. Nobody in any great hurry to go over and take this line ball. In the end, if we have a slit there now, we might get moving, but in fact this is the problem now. No crowd on the sidelines, so anything that goes out over the wall has to be fished back into play. But the line ball would be taken by centre back Sean Keegan. Good line cut through into the centre. It was held and then it was dropped by Kieran O'Sullivan, so it gives an opportunity now for Anto McNulty. He plays it out as far as Ian Crowley. Ian Crowley's under a bit of pressure there from Brian Warren. He might just be able to dig that out from under his feet. Brian Warren is really determined to get hold of that one. The referee might blow this one up in a second now, but it's not quite as stationary as I thought it was, and Brigids have won it and they've put that ball through. Into the centre, the full forward there, Stephen Moore. Stephen Moore goes forward. He's got a chance of a goal. He doesn't decide to go for that one. Plays that ball back out as far as Michael Frayne. Michael Frayne's shot in the end has gone right and wide. A real danger there for the Lucan defence, but in the end they managed to smother the attempts from Stephen Moore and then Michael Frayne. First wide of this game. Fintan Clandillan again over the set of the field. Two players looking for it, didn't get to it there. I think it was Brian Smith in the end who got one. Pumps it down into the corner to Adam McGurk. Adam, the son of Johnny McGurk, who's the St. Brigids senior hurling team manager. He goes for that one across the face of the goals. It's not going to drop wide though. Fintan Clandillan has to come from goal. Plays a nice ball out as far as Anto McNulty. Anto McNulty opens the shoulders there, goes long onto this side of the field. Again, breaking loose. Kevin O'Reilly thought about going for the pass or the shot. Decides to play that ball forward now, but it's dropping into St. Brigids territory. Breaks loose there to Barry Aird. Barry Aird now snaps it down a little bit there, but there's no problem whatsoever for Kieran Cahill. Kieran Cahill plays it long out the far side of the field, but that's only going to go straight as far as Anto McNulty for Lucan. Anto plays it infield to Barry Aird. Barry Aird now back to Anto McNulty. He thought about the shot there I think for a second, and then he decided no, that wasn't going to work, and in the end it breaks down to Sean Brady, the cornerback for St. Brigids. Sean onto the far side of the field. A few handling errors at this stage of the game, but St. Brigids have won the free, and with that breeze at their backs, so in fact it's going to be a good bit further now. Something perhaps said to the referee there, so this one is going to be from 65 metres out from the Lucan goals. So you couldn't say that Kieran O'Sullivan isn't on form. He hit the upright with the first one, which means that it was centimetres from going over the crossbar. But he steadied himself for this one now. Goes through his ritual. The referee is just holding things up for the second, but gives him the go ahead now. Interesting to see how this one goes. He strikes it well enough this time, but that one's gone to the left and wide. A second wide for St. Brigids. They'll be disappointed with that one. So an opportunity now for Lucan. We'll be quite content with the way things have gone so far into this breeze. Fintan Clandillan plays it over to this side. It seems to be the favoured target for him and very close to the sideline. It might just roll out over the sideline. It has indeed. It's going to be a Brigids ball. Matt Barr, he's getting calls all over the place as to where he should put it. Cuts it on this side, but again it was held and then broken away there from David Kennedy. It ends up in the hands of Matt Barr once again through the centre, but there's a big hole there just for the moment, and racing back to fill it there is Luke Murphy for Lucan, and Luke Murphy wins the free out for Lucan. There seemed to be no St. Brigids player coming into that space that was left, the space that was created by the runs, and in the end it's Lucan that saved the day. And they'll have an opportunity now to launch this one long and create something. Anto McNulty, I think, is taking this one for them. He's looking around. There's a bit of movement out on the left hand side. Maybe he'll go for that. He will indeed. He spotted that move. The run is on out there. Alan O'Neill going out there. Plays it back to David Kavanagh. David Kavanagh. Nice little low ball inside as far as Ian Crowley. Ian Crowley plays it back outside. This is good hurling from Lucan. And that long ball inside there, well, it's knocked away there for a second. The long ball inside from Alan O'Neill. in the end, the goalkeeper has to be very snappy to that one. Kieran Cahill did well there. He was under a little bit of pressure. There were a lot of bodies in there. And Brigids have this one now. Brian Moran cuts inside, gets a bit of space for himself, plays the diagonal ball now way back up into the corner, but it's not going to go as far as Stephen Moore this time, I don't think. Although Stephen Moore is battling hard for it. He's been beaten this time by Ty Clandillan. Ty Clandillan plays it back dangerously, perhaps in front of his own goals there, but Luke Murphy is back there as well, and that ball has gone out over the sideline. The pressure put on there from St. Brigids was good, and it wins the line ball for them. Referee, I think, is going to have a quick word there. Just a calming word, nothing else. No hint or suggestion of a card or anything of that kind. Just having a word there with David Kavanagh. The sideline cut there by Matt Barr again. Brigids have possession this time though. Matt Barr will get it back. Will he go for the point from there? He should. He strikes it, but it looks as if it might be going off left. No, in fact it stayed inside that left hand upright. Good score from Matt Barr. As far as St. Brigids now beginning to put a little bit more pressure on. They go 1 point clear after some 10 minutes, low scoring first 10 minutes in this game. And Lucan Sarsfields now go for the long ball down into the full forward, Alan O'Neill. Alan O'Neill does very well this time now. He's got support inside, plays that ball inside as far as David Kavanagh. David Kavanagh can't control it the first time round. Alan O'Neill is still in there doing his best to get hold of that ball. He's got support there too from Rob Lambert, but in the end St. Brigids have too many bodies there and they win that possession. For a moment there it looked as if there was going to be a pass outside, but Mark Coyne decided no, I'll go along with this one, and this is a really dangerous one dropping in, and there wasn't a stick that could just get onto the end of that one, and Fintan Clandillan plays it out on the far side. And McNulty, Ian Crowley will go there for it, but Ian Crowley won't get there ahead of Brian Smith, and it's going to be the free, I think, for St. Brigids perhaps. And again the referee, I think, might be having a word. There's no great pace to this game so far, but as I said, as the referee, again, it's just a warning word, and that's good for refereeing at this stage of the game. There's no need to go overboard. He just had a word there with Ian Crowley, as he had earlier on with David Kavanagh. Now this is a distance from his own 65 metre line, Kieran O'Sullivan. The wind will certainly be at his back. He should get the distance. It's very, very high, but is it straight enough? It is straight enough. Oh, that's a great score. Kieran O'Sullivan's second point in this game. Well, he had a shaky one that hit the post, then he had one that went wide, and now he's hit a real peach of a shot from the free on the very far side, 65 metres out from his own goals, and that'll perhaps settle him quite a bit. Free for Lucan Sarsfields. In their group this year, Lucan actually came third. They beat Parnell's, they drew with St. Peregrine's, and they lost to St. Vincent's, but in spite of all that they did finish third in the group, and they qualified from the group for the quarter-finals, and yet here they are in the final. So it just shows you to keep plugging away as Kevin O'Reilly takes this free for them. He strikes it, a good one in there, bit of danger for a second for St. Brigids. They didn't react too quickly to that one, and then in the end it's the centre half forward Rob Lambert that gets on to the end of that one, and that's a good score. Rob Lambert just laid off there a little bit as that ball dropped in, and it gave the opportunity for him to have a few paces when the ball came back out, and he'd be quite happy to get that one over the crossbar and reduces the margin to a point once again, and now perhaps they can do something more. Barry Aird looking for the point, sends it in and sends it over the crossbar. They've levelled the game up. 2 scores in the twinkling of an eye from Rob Lambert and from Barry Aird, and now suddenly the sides are on level terms. And remember, that's a strong breeze that St. Brigids have the advantage of. The ball back as far as Brian Smith. Brian Smith plays it out to Cian McCarthy. Cian McCarthy goes for the point, and that seems to come back down off the upright, and that's a very good score from Cian McCarthy. be delighted with that. He came up in support well from the half-back line, found himself in the right kind of territory, and from right on the sideline he hit that extremely well and just knocks it inside that upright. We've seen some good scores in this game so far. Anton McNulty, he's been very busy on that side of the field so far. There's a little ball there forward. Oisin O'Brien, his first possession I think it might have been, but the referee says no, he overcarried it. He just paused for a second there thinking about what the pass might be, the ideal pass, and overheld the ball. So another opportunity now for Kieran O'Sullivan, no doubt. And by his terms this one is quite a lot nearer. The last one was on his own 65. This one is just inside the Lucan half. So we have no doubts whatsoever about him getting the distance. It's all about accuracy. Strike said, well, it might just be going a little bit to the right this time though. In fact, it has held outside on the right. A third wide for St. Brigids. We haven't had a wide yet for Lucan, but they try to get something moving now on the far side. Niall Gleeson out there working for that ball and working for the free as well, which he gets. So it'll be a free for Lucan, again from just inside their own 65. Or is it indeed? I thought it was going the other way, but the referee has decided no, that it's a free for St. Brigids. Not sure what it was that Niall Gleeson did there, but it's another opportunity for Kieran O'Sullivan. He's having plenty of opportunity in practice. This one again, it'll have the breeze at its back because the breeze is blowing diagonally. Does he strike that one well? He does strike it well, so I suppose you'd have to say he's been the difference between the teams just at the moment. And for the second time in this game, St. Brigids open up a 2-point lead. Well, the referee could have perhaps given a free there, but he decided no, that was all accidental. Brian Moran working hard there for it. And the St. Brigids player, Brian Moran, came down heavily there after the challenge. But it was a good stick in there from Owen O'Connor. He did well, and the number 5 eventually wins that free back for Lucan Sarsfields. Way up into the corner, Alan O'Leal chasing after that. He did very, very well there, got that ball up. Now he has space through the centre, Ian Crowley there, but he just couldn't get control of that ball, and instead it's Sean Keegan who has it now for St. Brigids, and he launches an attack for them up into the corner. Michael Frayne there tried to get hold of that ball. They're digging in there. Kieran O'Sullivan is in there as well. Players coming out of that left and right. In the end, it's cornerback Aidan Sheehan who had the shot, and they're debating over there whether it was a line ball for Lucan Sarsfields or for St. Brigids, and I think the referee has decided that we won't have any debate on that one, because what we're going to do now is we're going to have our first water break of the game. Well, a game that so far has seen some very, very good scores, including that one from Kieran O'Sullivan, getting the game off to a very good start. And at the other end then, Kevin O'Reilly, the free taker for Lucan, into the breeze, and that really is a good strike. If you were here, you'd feel the breeze into his face for that one, so it really was a good one. And then St. Brigids, though, just with that little bit of an edge so far in this one. And that ball come back out to Matt Barr striking it well and putting it over the crossbar. So we've had some very good scores in this first half. And that was perhaps one of the best from his own 65 metre line. Kieran O'Sullivan drives it along, uses the breeze well. Great score. They'll be proud of him, his relations down in Cork, especially the fact he's wearing the red and white, the blood and bandage as well. The opportunity there, this one was one where Rob Lambert struck it over nicely there for Lucan. So as the two teams, well, in fact this was the one that, the equalising one at that time, which came from Barry Aird, putting pressure on, bringing them back into the game. And then Cian McCarthy Really good score for St. Brigids. So the players are about to resume. Brigids with that 2-point advantage at this stage of the game. Referee Philip Carr has blown the whistle. I think he's given them the restart notice, and that ball is going to be a line ball once again for Lucan. I think Niall Gleeson there took a bit of a tap on the ankle. Not too happy with what happened there, but it's going to be a line ball now for Lucan Sarsfields. And a real scramble in there, but in the end it's Cian McCarthy who comes away for St. Brigids with that possession, and now he finds a bit of space over on this side of the field. Is that one just too fast? Yeah, bit of pace on it. There were fears about this pitch before the lockdown was over, that it might be a bit too soft without play on it during the year, but it's hardened up well now in the last few weeks with a number of matches on it now, so conditions are very, very good. The playing surface here is always immaculate, and it's particularly so now just at the moment as Matt Barr sends in Brigids attacking down into that full forward line. Ty Clandillan working hard there along with Stephen Moore. Stephen Moore might get this one up. Just first touch just lets him down a little bit. He got a bit of a knock there as well. It'll come back outside though. Brigids still there with an opportunity. Brian Smith plays it back out to Kieran O'Sullivan. Kieran O'Sullivan thinking about going for the score himself. He just strikes it to the right though and wide. Another opportunity for St. Brigids. Stephen Moore there picked up a bit of a knock, but he's back up onto his feet and he's fine. Stephen is the senior football goalkeeper for St. Brigids. And they were playing here last week when they won their Senior 2 semi-final, which means that they'll be back again in another week's time for the Senior 2 final. That'll be against Coola, so we'll have a red and white clash on both sides, similar to last year's Senior Hurling final, and St. Brigids got to that along against Coola as well. So the game has gone into a little bit of a valley at the moment, which all of this suits Lucan very well in this first half into the wind. Attention being sought just down here, as this possession will have to go back all the way back to where the free was going to be taken. St. Brigids, in spite of the fact that they've only scored 5 points in the first 20 minutes or so of this game, they've scored a mammoth 13 goals and 88 points so far in this competition, averaging 25 points per match, conceding just 14, and that's impressive stats at any level. And we were expecting perhaps they would have opened up with a brace of scores, especially with the advantage of the wind in this first half, but that hasn't happened. Niall Gleeson is the player who was receiving the attention. Maybe that was the residue of that knock he took over on the far side of the field there a few minutes ago. But the opportunity now for Lucan. The ball inside there. An opportunity. Is that one squeezed in? That one is squeezed in and over. David Kavanagh gets the score for Lucan. Again, the Lucan player just holding off a little bit. Anton McNulty lobbed that ball in, and the player that just holds off a little bit, it comes to his advantage on this occasion. All he had to do was tap that ball over the crossbar, David Kavanagh, and reduce the margin once again. Brigids now. That one again for the second time hitting that woodwork on the left hand side. The pressure still on there. Stephen Moore looking for the free perhaps. Well, some of the others perhaps were shouting more for it than he was at the time. The pressure's still on there though. Barry Aird got possession of that one, but it came off one of the Brigids players, and that was an opportunity there for St. Brigids. But only again centimetres in the difference. Nobody could react to it, and so Lucan are let off the hook once more perhaps. You get the feeling as this game goes on that a goal will be very important in it. Owen Tyne, Brian Warren, cornerback, Mark Coyne, dangerous one in, but again held securely there by Fintan Clandillan. Plays it out the far side to Anton McNulty, onto McNulty. Oh, lovely little ball there as far as Ian Crowley. Ian Crowley in a bit of space now. Will he go for the score from there? He will. The wind will make it drop that little bit short perhaps, but in the end it's straight into the hand of Kieran Cahill. So a good play on both sides there, all securely held. The ball very close to the sideline again. That's kept in there, and it came back off the Lucan player. It was well kept in there the first time by David Kennedy, and so they've won the line ball for St. Brigids. Cian McCarthy, a point to his name so far. And that's again another good line cut. Owen O'Connor just about able to get his shot away there, but it only comes as far as Owen Tyne. Owen Tyne now doing well, creating space there. Kieran O'Sullivan did well to control that one, and then that's a brilliant block there by Anto McNulty. The chase on again though. Matt Barr, well, that really was a super block, and Matt Barr with a little bit of space now gets it to Kieran O'Sullivan once again. Kieran O'Sullivan throws off the attack, or the tackle I should say, and it comes as far as Aidan Sheehan. Aidan Sheehan plays it out into the middle of the field though, but Brigids now exerting a lot of pressure at this stage. They've won the free there for the foul on Brian Moran, but there really was a lot of pressure coming there on that far side of the field. Kieran O'Sullivan doing well, but that great block from Anto McNulty. A hurling stick needed, and there's the chipped bit of wood. Keep that one for future. Repair job on the way. Kieran O'Sullivan now with the opportunity, and this is perhaps the best one he's had so far in terms of almost dead straight in front. Distance shouldn't be any problem, so you'd expect him to have no difficulty whatsoever in putting this one over. And he doesn't have any difficulty whatsoever. So Kieran O'Sullivan, he's hit them from distance and he's hit them from close in, and he certainly has had a good day overall. Scored in the first minute, the 12th minute, the 16th and the 24th minutes. 4 good scores out of the 6 that we've seen from St. Brigids. And Breeze is really getting up now at the moment. Another hurling stick needed. Or perhaps it's a change. I think it was Kieran O'Sullivan deciding that the one he got wasn't the one he wanted. So another change in that one. That's a good cut again from Sean Keegan. Brigids now looking for a score or two before half time. Matt Barr sending it in, but sending it to the right and wide. Brigids have had 5 wides in the first half. We haven't had a wide for Lucan as yet, and again that's probably to do with the wind, because anything that mightn't have been on target has dropped short. So Fintan Clandillan finds Barry Aird, who dropped short there. That was clever. Oh, great catch in the centre of the field by Brian Smith. That really was extremely good. Plays it to Owen Tyne. Owen Tyne inside to David Kennedy. David Kennedy's blocked, and the referee says no, that's going the other way. Barry Aird was the one who suffered there. And that really was a terrific block. And the block on the first one actually came in from Luke Murphy. So we've seen a whole array of skills so far. That's a very good ball if it just has an extra little bit in it, but no, it's going to be cut out by Brian Moran. Brian Moran uses the breeze. That's very, very long. Couldn't quite hold on to it there as Luke Murphy got it. Luke Murphy, oh, danger there. It was a great scramble there for the cornerback Tyke Behan. He simply couldn't get it away, but the opportunity now for Matt Barr. Matt Barr surely from there will take the point. Matt Barr has no difficulty whatsoever. Found himself in a bit of space, and for once the defenders had lost him, and so he opens up that 3-point margin now for St. Brigids as we're fast approaching half time. Fintan Clandillan trying to pick out the men in the centre of the field there, because with this breeze, well, Brigids were calling for the free there. Nothing was given though, so the ball into Kevin O'Reilly can't get hold of it though. They're still battling hard for it, but St. Brigids definitely are going to get that one away. No, they're not. I spoke too soon for them. Nigel Leeson gets to it and then makes a block, and it's going to be a line ball for St. Brigids. But Lucan will be happy enough with this first half. They're only 3 points adrift. Sean Keegan. Again, that comes off the stick of Cian McCarthy. Ends up in the hands of Owen Tyne. Owen Tyne across that far side as far as Adam McGurk. Adam McGurk looking up, going for the shot now. It's from 45 metres out. The wind catches it, but it catches it and brings it to the right hand side and wide. I mentioned Owen Tyne there. I'm sure many people around Dublin will remember that we had a Monsignor Tyne who was the Dublin County Board chaplain. Same family. Adam McGurk, he might have played that a little bit short, but there is an opportunity now for St. Brigids, and that surely is going to be a free in. The referee's indicated that he will give the free in a moment's time because the foul was on Kieran O'Sullivan, and so an opportunity for the man who was fouled there. He turned inside, and there was no doubt whatsoever that it was more hip to hip than shoulder to shoulder there. The foul committed by Luke Murphy, and so Kieran O'Sullivan will have the opportunity himself to knock over his 5th point of this first half if he can do it, and he does that. So just a little bit of a spurt of scores before half time coming from St. Brigids, opening up the gap. It's double scores now, but it's still only 4 points, and considering the breeze and that this is hurling, that's really not an awful lot. Fintan Clandillan to this side. Brian Smith does well. Michael Frayne, son of the manager, plays it in well. That's a great score. He'd be delighted with that one. Michael Frayne cut into the centre, looked up, knew he could take it from there without any difficulty whatsoever. He had a little bit of space, a little bit of time. He was under pressure though, but he still took it well, and it just drops over the crossbar. So again, just before half time, 4 straight points we've had for St. Brigids. They're finishing this first half with a flourish. Can Lucan do anything now just to stem the tide here just at the moment? Kevin O'Reilly plays that ball back outside. Oisin O'Brien was chasing for it there but just couldn't get to it, and St. Brigids' defence is strong. Owen Tyne, as the referee blows for half time. So a 5-point margin has opened up just before half time here in Parnell Park. A good first half in terms of hurling, and we had some great scores. That long ball in there from Anto McNulty that eventually ended up with the score coming from David Kavanagh. Good score for Lucan. But then St. Brigids with Kieran O'Sullivan in good scoring form from frees. They began to up the ante towards the end of that first half. They had a few opportunities. Matt Barr was the one who took that one. And then we had that run through there where Kieran O'Sullivan picked up the ball on the end line, won the free himself, which he took and sent over the crossbar for another point for St. Brigids. So they came with those, 4 points towards the end of that first half. Kieran O'Sullivan with 5 in total. Struck that one well. So good return for them overall. And then of course at this stage we had Michael Frayne. Hasn't had that much possession, but he certainly made good use of that one when he got it. So a good enough first half there for St. Brigids. They've had the advantage of a very, very strong breeze, and at half time, so they'll be happy enough. But we'll be back shortly with the entire second half. But for now, we'll leave you with the half time scoreline in this Junior A hurling final. It's St. Brigids 9 points, Lucan Sarsfields 4 points. we're back in action here for the second half. Kevin O'Reilly for Lucan with the free. Strikes it very, very well. Fine score. So double scores again. And we've had some 90 seconds of this second half. Lucan perhaps now thinking maybe that there might be a goal in this one for them. Alan O'Neill in there working very, very hard, but there's plenty of red and white bodies in there as well. So Kevin O'Reilly this time from much closer in. This one should be eating and drinking for him. Not much more than 20 metres out. Strikes it firmly, strikes it well. And Lucan will be happy enough with that, despite giving away the first score of the second half. And the crossfield ball won't cause Lucan any problems, because back there is Colin Bean, who's a replacement. Didn't start this game, but he's in the play now. Oh, that's a well cut out there by Cian McCarthy. Danger now. Cian McCarthy will go for the score himself, but he hits it to the right and wide. St. Brigids had 6 wides in that first half. That's their first of the second half. Rob Lambert. Oh, that was good work there by Alan O'Neill. Did the hard work. Lost possession of it then. The chase on Kevin O'Reilly. He won't get there though, because it's cut out by Sean Brady. Good play by the cornerback. Out as far as Brian Smith. And if Lucan can get a few scores early in this second half, you never know what might happen. St. Brigids. Oh, that looked as if it was going to run through there from Adam McGurk. He couldn't get hold of it though. Good block there on the shot from Matt Barr. But now once again, Adam McGurk, and it's knocked away from Adam McGurk. Well, you get the feeling here that if Brigids could get a goal at this stage, it'll make a huge difference in this game. That one just shooting away from David Kennedy. He couldn't get hold of that ball. It's hard work at the moment for Lucan, but they've done well to take that ball away, and now they can launch an attack of their own. Barry Aird. That's a huge effort from Barry Aird. It's taken literally out of the hands of Kieran Cahill. And the opportunity for the score, and Lucan have got it. Well, Lucan would be very happy with the way this second half has started now. They've put a bit of a pep into their step, and that was Oisin O'Brien who scored that one. And I think even at this stage, St. Brigids have decided that they might need to make a couple of changes. The man who's going off there is David Kennedy. Looks like Kieran Dolan is the player who's come into the action for St. Brigids. Now there's only 3 points between these sides. Straight away into the action, Kieran Dolan. Dispossessed there by Colin Behan. Launches it long. Oh, that's a great ball inside to Kevin O'Reilly. Kevin O'Reilly, the chance of a goal. He's got it. Kevin O'Reilly, brilliant catch. The long ball in from Colin Behan. On the far side of the field, it was Colin Behan who picked it up. The good work there was being done though by Niall Gleeson's interception. Kevin O'Reilly caught it superbly, made space for himself and took it with aplomb. Brilliant goal for Lucan, and the sides are now level. And as I said, if Lucan could get a goal early in this second half or a few scores, anything could happen. And really, we weren't expecting it quite so soon. Inside 6 minutes, the sides are level. What can Brigids do now? Again, that one just that little bit off target. And Lucan must see now that there's an opportunity for them in this game. Good control there from Owen O'Connor. Can only get it as far as Sean Keegan. Colin Behan again into that full forward line. They're playing two players inside there to see what kind of result they can get from that one. Rob Lambert, and Rod Lambert has landed that one over as well. Well, again, this little surge at the start of the second half. Kevin O'Reilly has been very, very active in there. Back to Rob Lambert, and he seemed to have almost taken away his own opportunity there and then just landed it over. And this really is putting it up to St. Brigids now. They are the favourites coming into this game, but it's Lucan Sarsfields ahead by a point now. Adam McGurk there plays it back as far as Jamie Winters. Another change on the St. Brigids side. Hard work in there from Tyg Behan. Wins the free. Anton McNulty was thinking of taking it, but they've decided to go with Kevin O'Reilly. Now this one is on his own 45-metre line, so if he can get the distance in this one, it'll show you first of all how strong the breeze is, but also that he can give it a mighty clip from that distance. But he feels confident he can do it, and it certainly looks as if it's going to get the distance. Has it got the accuracy? That's the first wide we've had from Lucan, but that really was a mighty strike of a ball. So Lucan ahead by a point. Brigids now trying to get something back. Adam McGurk, strong challenge there. Oh, that really was good work there too from Gavin Millay. Change for Lucan Sarsfields, and the long ball in there should be held quite easily by Kieran Cahalan. Spots St. Brigids player out on that far side of the field. He'll get it out there as far as Cian McCarthy. Cian McCarthy has to work very, very hard. The linesman indicating that he thinks that ball was out and it's going to be a line ball for Lucan Sarsfields. Cian McCarthy is protesting there, but the linesman says no, it's definitely going to be a green and white ball. Remember, Lucan had to play St. Vincent's twice in this year's competition to get this far. They scored a goal and 10 points against them in the group and lost by 13 points. They scored a goal and 10 points again against them in the quarter-final, and on that occasion they won by 4 points. So the team improved a lot in that space of time. Looking in no hurry to get that ball back, so it's going to have to be Kieran O'Sullivan who'll do the carrying for them. But St. Brigids now, they could do with the score. Got the opening score of this second half, and we've had a goal and 4 points in the meantime. for Lucan, and that one's gone right and wide again. So these are nervous enough moments for St. Brigids. Fintan Clandillan. Again, not trying to get full distance on it, angling it, trying to find the man over on this side of the field. Ian Crowley is the player that he's looking for, but the referee said that was a chop down, so it's going to be a free for St. Brigids. Brendan McGarry for St. Brigids. David Kavanagh. And the referee said that was an illegal challenge as well, so an opportunity once again for Kieran O'Sullivan to tie things up once again. This one about 40 metres. Wouldn't expect him to have too many problems with it, and he doesn't have too many problems with it. So Kieran O'Sullivan levels it up. Important score for St. Brigids because they were drifting out of the game a little bit in terms of scores, but they've arrested that now after a goal and 4 in a row from Lucan. Owen Tyne, Mark Coyne, Kieran O'Sullivan. Good movement this. Is that one going to be right and wide again? It is. It was Matt Barr who got the shot away there in the end. And again, very quickly, Fintan Clandillan looking for to this side of the field. That'll beat everyone though. It's going to be a line ball once again. Plenty of line balls on a day like this because the wind blowing over onto this side of the field as well. Diagonal wind direction, so it's carrying the ball over this near sideline here. Brian Moore runs loose, and an opportunity now once again for Lucan to do something with it, but Brendan McGarry was the only one in that space out there. Kieran O'Sullivan going for the shot himself, but I think that's going to drop short. It's a dangerous one though. The little flick on there, it's gone in off the stick of Stephen Moore. Lucan are appealing, but Stephen Moore with a brilliant flick in mid-air. He just got up highest of them there and he just flicked it to the back of the net. So the goalkeeper turns goal poacher for St. Brigids, their senior team football goalkeeper. He's full forward today in the hurling team and he gets the goal there, and that is a huge score in this second half. St. Brigids, no, in fact the referee has decided no. Well, it looked as if it was going to be a huge one, but the referee has said no. So the sides are still level. Now really it was great skill there from Stephen Moore. Unfortunate that the referee decided against him. But now we have an opportunity for St. Brigids. Little tap of encouragement there from Kieran Dolan to Kieran O'Sullivan. So perhaps the best score of the day has been nullified, but it'll keep this game wide open. Kieran O'Sullivan, again he strikes the ball so well. Lovely score from Kieran O'Sullivan. He's been almost flawless from frees today. So St. Brigids have that one point. Got a chance for Matt Barr, and that's gone over the crossbar. Well, St. Brigids suddenly powering forward there. And the opportunity, in fact, it fell in the end, not to Matt Barr, but in the end it fell to Kieran Dolan, and Kieran Dolan puts it over the crossbar. Now, at the other end, what can Colin Behan do? Player inside. Oh, it just was too... Oh, it's very close to that goal line, but in fact, it was all too tight there. The ball hung in the air there too long from the pass inside, and St. Brigids just managed to get it away. But now this game is becoming something of a battle. Barry Aird working hard there for it. Once again, Kieran Dolan got that last point, looking for something more now. He still got possession there. Looked as if he might have been brought down, but the referee thought that it was actually just an accidental tip in the heel. But Lucan now having difficulty getting this ball out. They might in the end though. Oh, that was an attempt to feed that ball through there from Owen O'Connor. And luckily enough they just got a little tug there on the shoulder, so it's going to be a free out for them. So 2 points the margin between these sides. Another one of those great battles in there, but it's well won this time by Brian O'Sullivan. Brian O'Sullivan, he literally strides out. So the water break has been called, and the referee again emphasising that it's going to be 1 minute. Well, this is indication of the pressure that was being put on early on there by St. Brigids, with Matt Barr getting the opening point of this second half for them. Kevin O'Reilly in response using that breeze well, but he doesn't really need to worry about that too much. In the first half he was almost straight as an arrow, and once again there hits it very, very hard, getting another very good score. The opportunity for St. Brigids, well, they were having a number of bites of the cherry there before that eventually was saved off the shin or the heel perhaps of one of the Lucan players. And then that long high ball in there, it could have ended up in a lot worse for St. Brigids there, but in the end Oisin O'Brien was the one who just tapped it over the crossbar for Lucan. And then down at the other end, Kieran Dolan, he was dispossessed by Colin Behan. Colin Behan, mighty long effort into Kevin O'Reilly. Kevin O'Reilly did so well there, and they hit that ball low for a great goal. Couldn't ask for much better than that. All the skills on view there from that high ball inside. Colin Behan again very much involved there. This one back outside as far as Rob Lambert, and he landed the score there for Lucan. So the teams are back out of their huddles. Referees have clamped down a lot now on the time given to the water breaks, but of course the big talking point in that first half was that goal that wasn't from Stephen Moore. He got the flick on it, and he must have been a marginal call, but the decision was taken to disallow the goal. Kieran O'Sullivan now will restart with the free on this side of the field for St. Brigids. He strikes it well. It's going to be a dangerous one, but it's going to drop short. There's a lot of players in there looking for possession of that ball. It's gone out for a 65, at least that's the view of the umpire down to our right hand side. Michael Frayne, the player who got the shot in. And St. Lucan's scoring stats aren't quite as impressive as St. Brigids coming into this game. Their average was 17 points per game, and they conceded an average of 16 a game. There wasn't an awful lot in their for and against totals. That's Kieran O'Sullivan. Steals a few metres, hits that very, very well. Is that a good one? Ah, that's a great score. Again, I have to emphasise that it's a very, very strong breeze here in Parnell Park. 3 points the margin once again. Chasing the far side. You might see there one of the Lucan subs there. Evan Dowling has come in for them as well. Luke Murphy out in the centre of the field there. Ian Crowley. Gavin Malaya trying to get hold of the ball, but the referee says you fouled, and so there's going to be another opportunity once again for St. Brigids. It was Kieran O'Sullivan who was fouled. He's been very much in the action. Not always easy for a player who's that involved in the action then to settle himself for free of this distance, and he decides to go that little bit shorter this time round and get the return from Owen Tyne, and Kieran O'Sullivan goes for the score. That's a brilliant score, and well worked it was too, because he could have gone for the point himself, decided to do the quick 1-2, got that ball back, and he struck a mighty score from where he was inside his own half. Great score. Owen Tyne. Adam McGurk, surely he'll go for the score from there, and Adam McGurk takes the score from there. Now you could see how assured he was in that position. He had no doubt whatsoever. He backed his own confidence and took the score, and suddenly now St. Brigids seem as if they might be just about to pull away. They're winning all the ball that matters out there in the centre of the field. Cian McCarthy plays it into Kieran Dolan. Now, is there another goal perhaps in Lucan? Barry Aird is going to take this one. No, he won't. Now, there's only 1-on-1 in that full forward line just at the moment for Lucan. And Tom McNulty is going to take this one. Kieran Bresnan is in the action as well, as Anton McNulty lobs it in. Is it too far? In fact, it might just be. Oh, well held onto the crossbar by Kieran Cahill, and it's gone wide. That was a great strike, but in one sense it was neither fish nor foul. It just didn't drop short enough for his own players and wasn't long enough for the score. So the player being attended to, a breather for everybody concerned. It's a while since St. Brigids last won the Junior A title. That was 2008. Before that was 2005, and coincidentally they beat Naomh Barrow in both those finals. So it's been something like 12 years. It looks like there's going to be a change made. It doesn't look as if they had any doubt there about it, that there's... Well, maybe not. I thought for a moment there that it was going to be a turnover, but in fact the indications were that. But that's not going to be the case, so they've both made a number of changes now at this stage. That's a lovely catch in the centre of the field there from Barry Aird. Sailed into the air and caught that one. Now are we going to have Anton McNulty Mark 2? No, we're not. We're going to have Kevin O'Reilly. Goal scorer and chief free taker. Philip Carr has decided he's going to take some action. And Kevin O'Reilly now, he has to decide, will he go for the point, or will he try and drop this one short? 5 points the difference between the sides. He's gone for the point by the looks of it, and the breeze might just take that over. The breeze does take that over. It's a very good score. It reduces the margin to 4 points. And we have about 5 minutes left, allowing of course for that water break as well. There'll be a little bit more time in that as well. Lucan Sarsfields are not out of it yet. Kevin O'Reilly once again, and that's a difficult one. It was well held out in that far side by Colin Behan. He did well there to Ian Crowley. Ian Crowley now, surely he's going to win the free there, and without any hesitation Kevin O'Reilly is drifting across into that position to go for the free here. Now if they can take this score here, there'll be no doubt whatsoever that they're still in this game. It'll be a one score game once again, so really he has to land this one. Referee having a word there, showing the yellow to Brendan McGarry. Now we have a Brigids player down injured, but the referee has spotted that now, so I think he's going to hold up the play for a moment, even though Kevin O'Reilly is getting ready to take this free. I'm not sure if he realises that the referee is actually walking in the opposite direction. He hasn't blown the whistle, so he's going to take the free anyhow, but I think he's going to have to come back and take it again no matter what happens with it, because the referee's back was turned. He wasn't looking at the play whatsoever, so that free is going to have to be taken again, I think. I think he'll have to indicate to Kevin O'Reilly that there's going to have to be a change made for Brigids as well, so you can strike the point from the free. So there's going to be a bit of a delay now. This certainly won't be to the advantage of Kevin O'Reilly. It's always difficult to take a free and then have to come back and do it from the same position once again, especially when you've scored the first one. St. Brigids club has been around for a long time, since 1932, but Lucan Sarsfields have been around for even longer. It's a club named after the heroic Patrick Sarsfield, who was actually from Lucan, so of all the Sarsfields around the country, they're perhaps the most entitled to use the Sarsfields name. Sarsfield Anam, Sarsfield on Far, and in fact they're 34 years older than St. Brigids. They've been around for 134 years. 1886 was when Lucan Sarsfields Club was formed. A number of different clubs in Lucan at that time as well, but the action on that far side of the field, not too sure how it was. Well, he just seemed to break down after the initial contact. Didn't look anything terrible at the time, but there's definitely going to be a stoppage while the medics have a good look at him and see. I think it might have been to the shoulder. But the referee, Philip Carr, in no rush whatsoever. If the player is injured, he's down. As long as it takes, that's all that matters. Even though this Lucan team, or the Lucan club, has made great strides, certainly in senior hurling in recent times in particular, they've yet to win the Junior A title. It's 7 years since their last final appearance. That was in 2013. They lost on that occasion to Kieran Kilkenny powered Castleknock. And of course, haven't seen Kieran Kilkenny too often playing hurling since. He did play in the Intermediate Championship of 2015 for Castleknock, but other than that he's been concentrating on football, to the benefit of the Dublin senior football team as well, of course. Brigids considering making another change. Kieran Dolan there, who has had quite an influence since he came on in this game. Brigids in their 5 games so far in this year's championship, they've looked very good. They've won all 5, and they had 5 points or more to spare on in all the 5 matches they played in fact. They had 5 points against a very good Ballyboden team, and indeed they had 5 points against Rail Darg as well. They had 7 against St. Peregrine's, 16
against Coola and 20 against Good Counsel Liffey Gales. So winning is very much ingrained in this team. And apart from a phase there just at the start of this second half when they fell behind by 1 point, they certainly have looked good. Kieran Dolan there to Matt Barr. And once again, that man who's been so efficient from the place ball, Kieran O'Sullivan. Yeah, it looks like it's the shoulder perhaps. The collarbone, it has that look about it. So play will resume, and Kevin O'Reilly will have to do it all again. Never the easiest, but this, if he can land it, will bring them back within 3 points, so all is not lost for them. Just over 45 metres out. Kevin O'Reilly makes no mistake, second time round, did well with that. So one score between them, 110. That's a score that Lucan Sarsfields know all about this year. They scored it against Vincent's on 2 occasions. They're just hoping now that they can push on perhaps and get another goal. Brigids though working hard. Kieran Dolan, as I said, he's made a big impression since coming on to this St. Brigids side. Stephen Moore couldn't get a stick onto that one at the end. No. Once again the opportunity. Evan Dowling was held up and fouled. So another opportunity, and this one could bring them even closer. And time added on is at the referee's discretion now. We had that long stoppage for that injury to Kieran Breslin. Kevin O'Reilly strikes it well. There was a hesitation there for a moment on the umpire on the right hand side, but it was good. So 3 in a row from Kevin O'Reilly. This game is still alive. 2 points between them. Is there a goal in Lucan? Are there a couple of points in them? Who knows what can happen at this stage? They have possession once again. They're putting the pressure on. Evan Dowling. Oh, that ball's going to drop short though, and it's not going to end up. All it might. I don't know. Neil with their chasing for that ball, but he couldn't get to it. That's good harrying. In fact, it's Anto Nulty that's gone into that full forward line now. They've brought him from the half back line, and he has played well today. But it's going to be a line ball for St. Brigids. Into the final minutes, they've got a 2 point lead. Brigids have done well. They've taken the pressure. And the referee sees another free. It's going to be an opportunity for Kevin O'Reilly. Can he bring them that little bit closer? Would be in for a grandstand finish if he can. The green and white of Lucan have the very strong breeze at their backs, and that one looks as if it's good again. That's a super score. 4 in a row now for Kevin O'Reilly, and there's 1 point between the sides. Brigids lead by 1. We have no idea how long there will be left because the referee had that very long stoppage. Now, this is the vital one. Kieran Cahill's puck out. If Lucan can win it, they perhaps can level this game. Brigids need to lift the siege somewhat. They've gone back into their shell a little bit in the last while, but Kieran Dolan again wins that ball in the centre of the field. Lucan chase hard for it there. a real scramble for it. Colin Behan, he got it away, but he didn't get it very far away. Ian Crowley on the far side was trying to get hold of the ball. There's a real scramble. The referee decides, I think he's going to throw in that ball. Lucan need one more attack, one more score to tie this game up. Send it to extra time. Remember, there has to be a winner on the day here. And that line ball on the far side is going to be for Lucan. Now, one last throw of the dice perhaps. Oh, that's a good cut. The danger here for St. Brigids. Sean Brady back there working hard for that possession there. Jamie Winters is back there as well. The referee saw a little tug there and he's given the free out for St. Brigids. Maybe that'll lift the siege now. Good line cut. And it was a real battle in there. Kevin O'Reilly and Sean Brady, Jamie Winters, and a little nudge in the back there perhaps. Kieran Cahill. I think he'll probably just want to drive this as far as he possibly can, and that's exactly what he does. Way down into Lucan territory. It's very close to that far sideline, almost in the possession of Tyg Behan there. The referee and the linesman see that that ball has gone out and it's going to be a St. Brigids ball. That might be enough to stem this Lucan response in the second half. The second half that for a while was all St. Brigids. Then for another while it was all Lucan. St. Brigids scored 6 points in a row, and then we had 4 in a row. But I suppose the decisive score that wasn't was that Stephen Moore goal. Looked like a goal, wasn't given as a goal, that he was inside the small parallelogram. That was the judgment. Now Brigids have it. They've lost it. One opportunity now for Lucan. The ball onto this side of the field. It's gone out. It'll be a line ball for Lucan. And I think that's another knock. This time it might have been Brian Moore who picked up the knock. Yeah. And in fairness, I think a few of the players down there were suggesting that he mightn't be that badly injured, but he took a hell of a knock there as well. But you can see that the minute that that contact was made there was a shout of pain, and Owen O'Connor is going to take this line ball for Lucan. The other number 5 is Brian Moore, and the man is down injured. He's not happy, but he's up. Now, what can Lucan do from this one? Can they find an equaliser? Very close to the sideline again. There's going to be another really big scramble, and the man who was injured a second ago, Brian Moore, is in there looking for it. So too is Cian McCarthy. The opportunity for the shot from Barry Aird. Barry Aird lobs it in, but Kieran Cahill comes off his line there and does well. Matt Barr, the far side, with the chance now for the shot in from Colin Behan. Colin Behan sends it in, and has he sent it over the crossbar? He has. Colin Behan, the substitute, has landed the equaliser. Well, it looked as if Brigids were about to clear the danger, and then all of a sudden it came to Colin Behan, and now Brigids have to come and look for the winner once again. One more shot they've got perhaps. It's drifting in, it's going to be short, but in fact there's a player inside, and it's Matt Barr. Matt Barr's brought down. Surely that's going to be a penalty perhaps for St. Brigids. The referee's already indicated that it is, and suddenly there was a Brigids player totally free in there. There's one of them actually in the netting at the back of the goals just at the moment as well, so they're going to have to bring him out of that. But the referee had no hesitation there whatsoever. It was Matt Barr who was free, completely free inside. The ball was played in by Michael Frayne, and whatever Lucan had done, they had moved forward, they'd got the equalising score, and then they lost the player coming forward, as so often happens in these situations. You are perhaps most fragile just after you've got an important score, and on this occasion the referee decides it'll be a yellow as well. So the penalty from just outside the 20-metre line, of course. How often have we seen in these situations whereby the penalty taker advances too far, and even though scores has it disallowed, but this one will decide perhaps what's going to happen in this game. And Kieran O'Sullivan decides not even to go for the goal. He takes the point that should win this game for St. Brigids. There's 17 points to 1 goal and 13 points. Well, you couldn't really have written the script for this one the way it's gone. And the referee has now blown the full-time whistle. And for a second there, I think one of the Lucan players felt that it might have been to their advantage, but it isn't. In fact, it's St. Brigids who win the title on this occasion. Philip Carr has blown the final whistle to signal a first Junior A hurling title for St. Brigids since 2008. They've waited for 12 years, and really there's no argument about it in the end. St. Brigids did what they had to do. They were put under pressure. Colin Behan landed that wonderful equalising score, and then Brigids came straight up the field, put the pressure on, won the penalty, and it was a simple enough task for Kieran O'Sullivan to just tap it over the crossbar. Wise, sensible thing to do rather than to go for the goal. He must have known the time was more or less up. But St. Brigids will celebrate at the end of it. They won all 6 matches they played over the last 62 days of this short but very intense 2020 competition. In that second half, they played particularly well for a phase between the 11th and the 21st minute. They let Lucan back into the game then after that, but in fact Lucan could do no more than just get the equalising point. When they were celebrating that, back came St. Brigids, and they got the score in the end that really mattered. Well, the players now wondering what it is that's going to happen. There may well be a presentation. I'm told that the cup may not even be allowed to go back with the teams involved here, or back certainly with St. Brigids. Well, it turned out to be an exciting game in the end. Single point between them, and just when it seemed as if Lucan had done everything they possibly could to get back into the game, maybe even send it to extra time, the strong attack of St. Brigids won the penalty, and they took the point that won this game for them by a single point. Well, coming up next on Dubs TV, while they are waiting for the presentation, I think we might just stay with them for the presentation, I think, and it's going to be Kieran Cahill, who held on a number of significant occasions in that second half. No supporters, of course, absolutely nobody else apart from the St. Brigids team and the officials and mentors and medical teams around them, and they'll know that they won this one the hard way. As I said, they had 5 straight wins coming to this. Nobody got within 5 points of them, and I don't think they thought perhaps coming in here as favourites today that it would come down to the very last minute and a penalty to win this game for them. Kieran O'Sullivan did the wise thing. There was no point at this stage. Possibly had a word with the referee, knew what was happening. All they needed was 1 score to win it, and that's what they got. So that's the stand that they've been in all day. Not allowed to use the dressing rooms, of course. The Lucan Sarsfields players are out there still on the pitch. They're staying for as long as it takes. And of course, social distancing being adhered to. And I suppose it's only when you see these players standing in comparison to everybody else that you see that Kieran Cahill's a tall player. So for the first time since 2008, and St. Brigids have had a very good hurling run in recent years. Remember, they got to last year's senior final against Coola. We still have to come for you here this afternoon. At 5 o'clock on Dubs TV, the intermediate hurling final between Naomh Marnogue and Finn Gallions. The player who got injured there towards the end, Kieran Breslin, He was led away for medical attention, so we're hoping that there'll be a speedy recovery for him. I don't think he'll be back here in the next few minutes to enjoy the celebrations, or we're not too sure exactly what kind of celebrations there will be tonight in Russell Park for this. The phase 3 closed down, took us all by surprise, I suppose, in the last few days. So well, Kieran Breslin is very gingerly making his way across the pitch now towards the presentation area, which is good to see as well. But it really was a tremendous fight put up by Lucan Sarsfields in this match. They were far from favourites in it, and yet they gave everything they could as Kieran Cahill lifts the Junior A Championship Cup. This will be known as the COVID Cup, I suppose, and certainly unlike anything that's ever taken place before in a presentation of this nature in Parnell Park. Unfortunately, we are not privileged to hear the words of goalkeeper Kieran Cahill, but he'll be telling his players how proud he is of them and their efforts throughout this entire year, and who's to say that Brigids didn't deserve it. They were caught at the very end when Colin Behan got that equaliser, but they won it, and they won it I suppose in the way that a very good team does, came back strongly and got the score that really was the all-important one. But for now though, as we said, we'll be back with you for the 5 o'clock throw-in for Fingalliant and Nave Marnogue. But for now though, it's congratulations to St Brigids, the 2020 winners of the Dublin Junior A Hurling Championship. We're leaving you on the scoreline of St Brigids 17 points, Lucan Sarsfields 1 goal and 13.